Welcome to today's tutorials on hazardous waste handling and management rules. Coming to the table of contents, today we will see a highlight on hazardous waste, what is hazardous waste, little bit on Basel Convention, then a highlight on the importance of proper hazardous waste management, like why hazardous waste is the managing of hazardous waste is important for us. Then problems of unscientific disposal of hazardous waste, like if you don't dispose it properly with suitable strategies, what problems will be encountered. So a little bit on those we will be highlighting. And then we will see about hazardous waste management rules 2016. So this was the final amended management rule which came into existence in 2016. Okay, so coming to hazardous waste. So hazardous waste. So we have in the last tutorial have given a highlight on solid waste. Within the solid waste, there are different types of solid waste. So hazardous waste is one category of waste which is having the properties of toxicity. It is highly toxic, it is flammable, it is explosive, it is corrosive. So if any waste has got these properties, then it will be categorized under hazardous waste. So this kind of waste, they are dangerous not only to the health but also to the environment. So you have to take proper care to manage this kind of waste separately. So this is called as hazardous waste, and most of the industries produce this kind of waste, like your petroleum refining industries, pharmaceutical industries, petroleum industries, paint industries, aluminium industries, electronic products. All these industries will produce a lot of hazardous waste which has to be managed in the proper way. So according to CPCB, okay, Central Pollution Control Board 2015 report, according to their report, they have given a statistics telling that the country produces 7.46 million metric tons per annum. So that is means it produces so much hazardous waste per year, and these are produced from approximately 44,000 industries. So there are a lot of industries producing this kind of hazardous waste, and so much hazardous waste is generated in the country per annum, and this has to be managed in a scientific manner. Okay, we have to manage it properly. So that is why we have a Basel Convention. So what is this Basel Convention? This is the international treaty which is signed by more than 86 countries. This was signed in 1995. Okay, they had signed this telling that there won't be any transboundary movements of hazardous waste from developed countries to developing countries, because this was happening before. What was happening is, in the name of managing the waste, all the developed countries would dump their hazardous waste into the developing countries for money. So developing countries would take this task because they would get monies in euros and dollars, and based on that they were managing it in unscientific manner. This led to a lot of problems with respect to health and environment. That is why this Basel Convention was signed. Basel Convention on, you can see there, control of transboundary movement. So there should not be any transboundary movement within the country. So that means like from US they can't transport it to India. In that way transboundary movement has to be stopped. So for that purpose this convention was signed in 1995, but it was made officially valid. Even after signing this, it was made valid only in 2019. So based on this convention, there should not be any transboundary movement of solid waste that should happen. Okay, so coming to the importance of proper hazardous waste management, like why hazardous waste management has to be done properly, because we know the problems with hazardous waste. Most of these waste are explosive, they are corrosive, they are toxic. So if it is not managed properly, it leads to a lot of health effects. So that is why scientific disposal and proper strategies to treat this kind of waste is very, very important. Apart from that, there are some common hazardous waste treatment, storage and disposal facilities. So one can take help of these units for managing their hazardous waste. So industries can approach these particular units for consultancy, and these consultancy companies can do their job of managing the industry's hazardous waste. In turn, they can charge some money for managing their waste. In that way, both the companies can get benefited. So there are approximately, you can see there, more than 40 common hazardous waste treatment, storage and disposal facilities available in 17 states of India. So in India, we have 40 such treatment facilities within 17 states. Okay, and most of these materials, they can be recycled or they can be used for recovering of some of the important resources. So we have studied the solid waste management hierarchy in the last tutorial, where I've highlighted that resource recovery is one option which is always better than landfill or incineration. So in the same way, hazardous waste also, there are a lot of materials in that which has got good resource recovery capability. So we can explore this and try to recover those resource recovery materials, and then the remaining material which is not of any use can be sent to the landfill. So there are many registered recyclers. You can see that 1080, I've put the numbers there. So these are based on the report. So based on that, we can use this kind of recyclers units for trying to recover the resource recovery of various hazardous waste materials, where you can recover the important materials there. Okay, so that is one important use there. Then coming to the problems of unscientific disposal of hazardous waste. So if you are not disposing it properly, if you are not treating the hazardous waste properly, burning it openly and all that, it leads to a lot of health effects. Okay, so in case of incineration also, there has to be proper control facility for controlling the toxic gases which are emitted. Else these toxic fumes will contain dioxins, furans and such molecules, and there are a lot of reports which tells that these dioxins and furans can even lead to cancer. Okay, so that is why we have to take utmost importance while handling this hazardous waste, because it can lead to air pollution. We have to take very much care about this. One more thing is, if you dispose it to the water bodies and other things, definitely there are a lot of heavy metals in this particular hazardous materials, and that can lead to leaching. Leaching, we have seen the importance of leachate in landfill in the last tutorial. Same way here, the liquid which is released from this solid waste material is called as leachate, which is leaching into the land, and that will spoil the environment also, and it will degrade the soil and water quality. Both the water quality of that particular region and soil will be hampered. So that is why this has to be taken utmost important. Not only that, even the workers who are working in such hazardous waste, unscientific management of hazardous waste, they will undergo various problems, health related problems like neurological disorders, skin diseases, genetic defects, cancer, etc. So we have to see to it that the hierarchy is managed properly. So prevention will be the topmost priority. Okay, we have to see to it that we do not generate hazardous waste first of all. That is the best option. So if you cannot prevent the production of hazardous waste, then try to minimize it. So how much ever possible, try to use alternative strategies so that the hazardous waste production is reduced. So that is the second approach, minimization. Third thing is reuse. So if you can use that material for some other purpose, try to reuse it. Try to recycle it. So those will be the third options. Okay, and then we can try to recover materials out of it. So there is option for recovery of certain resources out from the hazardous waste. Such kind of recovery plants can help us in doing that. And then coming to utilization using co-processing. So there are certain co-processing units also which can help in recovery of certain materials. And finally, after treating it properly, it has to be safely disposed in a secure engineered structure called as landfill. So coming to hazardous waste rules, these are the hazardous waste rules. Initially it came into existence in 1989 and it was amended. Okay, you can see in 2002 there was an amendment. Then in 2008 there was an amendment again. So each amendment is done to make the rules more stringent. Okay, the rules are made more stringent so that people follow it. And then the final amendment came in 2016. So that states like hazardous and other waste management and transboundary movement. So even transboundary movement has been completely stopped. So this came into existence in 2016. So coming to this hazardous waste management rules, little bit of details on that. So here they've included some other kind of waste materials also, like waste tire, paper waste, metal scraps, electronic items. So all this comes under hazardous waste category again. And then coming to the hierarchy, I've already discussed about this. Coming to prevention, minimization, reuse, recycle. So that is the order. So most importance or most preferential option will be prevention, and the least preferred option will be landfill. So based on that, the hierarchy is decided. And then coming to standard operating protocols, a lot of SOPs has been generated to understand how hazardous waste has to be maintained and monitored and treated properly. And most of the procedures which are required has been simplified. Okay, this is done for those consultancy companies because they have to manage the hazardous waste facility, and for them getting clearances will be a tedious task, and there are a lot of procedures to be done for that. So those procedures have been simplified so that the hazardous waste can be managed properly. And apart from that, even the co-processing units are given approvals for processing of hazardous waste. And then import export of this waste under rules has been streamlined. So even their documentation and other things has been simplified so that more and more import of waste can be done for recovery purpose. And then coming to various import of metal scraps, paper waste, and various category of electronic and electrical equipments. So they have been exempted from obtaining ministry's permission. Ministry is nothing but MOEFCC. We have discussed this in the last tutorial. Ministry of Environment and Forest, Climate Change. So before they had to take permission from this, and then only they could do some kind of recovery experiments. But now they, for these particular imports of metal scrap, paper waste, they need not take permission from MOEF. So some time has been exempted from them. So that is why they can use this time for recovering resources from these kind of materials. And then apart from that, a lot of responsibilities has been taken by the state government, where they have set up a lot of industrial space or shed for recycling units. And they have seen to it that the workers are registered within this particular setup, and skill development programs and other things has been initiated for these workers, so that they are made aware about how to handle this particular waste, so that they do not end up in trouble. So they have to be taken care, their personal care, hygiene has to be taken into consideration, their health has to be taken into consideration. So taking all this into consideration, a lot of awareness programs and skill development activities have been initiated for these kind of workers. So coming to some kind of waste that has been prohibited from import. Okay, so these are the point wise I've highlighted there. You can just have a look at it. Waste, edible fats, oils of animals, vegetable origin, household waste. So these all have been exempted from import. So these materials cannot be imported. Okay, so like waste, electrical and electronical assembly scrap, other chemical waste, especially solvents kind of material, PET bottles. Okay, there are certain categories of waste which cannot be which has been prohibited. So you cannot import it as it is. You have to take permissions, and then only it can be stipulated. Okay. So again, annual report have to be submitted to MOEFCC, and then State Pollution Control Board is mandated to prepare an annual inventory of the waste generated. So how much waste is generated by that particular state, how much of that waste is recycled, how much is recovered, and how much is sent to co-processing unit. All the details has to be submitted to Central Pollution Control Board. So Central Pollution Control Board is above the State Pollution Control Board. So whatever happens in the State Pollution Control Board has to give the annual report to the Central Pollution Control Board. Okay, so that is why they have highlighted all that in this particular amended rule in 2016. And a little bit detail on a list of waste constituents with concentration limit has been revised. So like what kind of waste and what should be the limits of that, so that it does not lead to complications. They are comparing it with the drinking water standard. So in the water, these waste should not be present. So if it is present, it has to be in minimal quantity. So what is that limit that has been made more stringent? So like, for example, if it is like 10 microgram per liter in the previous amendment, they have made it like 5 microgram per liter. So they have made it still stringent, so that you get the water to normal standards. Okay, so that is why these kind of amendments are done, and that is why we have 2016 amended rule. So coming to the waste management, a little bit on how to manage waste. So we saw about the hierarchy, right? The same way, produce less waste should be your best option. Once you cannot do this, there is a little bit of waste produced, then try to manipulate the process to eliminate the or reduce production. So that is the first step. If you cannot do that, you can try to go for recycling and reuse options. So then if this also cannot be done, the next step will be conversion steps. So any kind of conversion or treatment steps to convert the hazardous materials into non-hazardous substances. So this can be done by physical, chemical, biological treatments, or even it can be done using incineration systems. Okay, so these kind of systems are used for converting the hazardous waste to non-hazardous substances. Then finally, the last choice will be the landfill. As I told you, if nothing can be done, if you cannot recycle anything, if you cannot recover anything, the final option for that particular waste will be making it stable so that it does not interact with other things, and then making it secure in a landfill. And the other options given there, you can see underground injections and surface impoundments. These are not used that much, but secure landfill is the best option compared to the other two options given there. So these are the final waste disposal methods which are available for hazardous waste. So preventing and reducing will be the first option. Reusing will be the second option. Recycling will be the third option. Then some kind of physical, chemical and biological methods of treatment, where biomethanation is one method of biological treatment. Then coming to incineration and combustion, where you can convert this waste into energy. So if you can use certain hazardous waste for converting, burning it in an incinerator in a controlled manner and convert it into electricity, then that can be a good choice. So waste to energy concept for hazardous waste. But there, as I told you, the emissions has to be controlled, otherwise it leads to again problems. So that has to be taken care. Apart from that, landfill disposal, water disposal and injection wells are also a method of treatment, but these are not preferred options. So as I told you, the above 5 options that I have highlighted there, those are more preferential compared to the last 3 options. So coming to a little bit of statistics from one journal paper. So this is the reference. You can see I've put the source there. So according to them, this is the table 2 above, okay, that gives a highlight on waste treatment capacity in India, hazardous waste treatment capacity. So according to that, class 1 and class 2. Class 1 is that particular region which has got more population, and class 2 has got less population. So according to them, the waste water generated, MLD, in million liters per day, okay, MLD, that is so much of waste water generated. So there you can see in class 1 so much of water is generated, but class 2, since the population is less, the water generated is less. So there you can just have a look at waste treatment capacity that they have and required capacity that should be available actually. So what is the percentage of untreated waste in that particular class of state? So you can see 68% in the class 1 is untreated, whereas 92% in class 2 is untreated. So that means there is a lot of scope for hazardous waste management. So a lot of companies can come up to treat this hazardous waste and convert it into energy and make money also. So that can be good options for new ventures to come up. And apart from that, one more table have been highlighted there on hazardous waste treatment facilities in India. So as we saw, biomethanation, pelletization and waste to energy concepts are good options for converting hazardous waste into energy or any other options. So these are the state-wise information given there. So you can see there are no much treatment facilities available as per this particular report, where in India, as per states, you can see there are hardly few biomethanation units, pelletization units and waste to energy units. So there is a lot of scope here for developing more plants for developing energy out of it, or converting it to methane, which can be again converted to electricity, or pelletization, that means converting it to pellets and then burning it in the incinerator and then again developing energy. So these can be good options for energy recovery. So coming to a case study of Ramki Environmental Engineer, this is a company, Ramki Enviro Engineers. So they are also working a lot on hazardous waste management. So you can see they have 1 million tons handled per annum. So per annum they are handling 1 million tons of hazardous waste. They have approximately 17,400 customers, 18 state-of-art facilities and 18 years of operation. So they are working in this field of hazardous waste management from 18 years. So they have given a flow chart here. You can just have a look at how they are managing the hazardous waste. So you can see the first thing there, industries. So from these industries, they collect the hazardous waste material. So they have the collection and transportation system. So Ramki will have their collection and transportation systems. So the industry will consult Ramki and the Ramki will do their job of managing their hazardous waste. So industrial hazardous waste is managed by Ramki. In turn, Ramki will ask for particular amount, like per ton management, so much they have to spend. So industry will spend money and get their work done. So finally, Ramki will collect their particular hazardous waste and they will send it to the laboratory. You can see there lab analysis is done to see what kind of material it is, and based on the analysis report, they decide what kind of treatment has to be given for that particular hazardous waste. So based on the report that the Ramki Enviro Engineer will give, they will either send it to, they know like what kind of material can be recycled and recovered out of it. So that will be sent to the recycling and value recovery units. So they have those units for value recovery and that is sent to the recovery units. And some of it which can be converted into energy, incineration units. So they will stabilize it. So some kind of chemical stabilization treatment will be done and then it will be sent to the incineration units where they convert it into energy. So that can be done, waste to energy can be done, resource recovery can be done. And finally, if they have some kind of waste which cannot be used for any purpose, there also they may chemically stabilize it, make it inert and then dump it in a scientific landfill. So you can see there finally there is a green patch which is given there. That is a landfill area. So in this scientific landfill, which is the engineered structure, they will be managing this final hazardous waste which is not of any use. So that is why the least preference will be given for this, whereas for recovery and incineration, more preference will be given. And for recovery, more preference will be given than incineration. So that is why this kind of management they are doing from past 18 years, and they are having some 17,400 customers. So that is how this Ramki Enviro engineers are working with hazardous waste. Thank you for watching, guys. Do subscribe the channel for more updates.